Thanks for everybody for coming today. Appreciate your time. My name is State Representative Brian Lorenz. I represent the 60th District here in Ohio. Today with me I have good friend and constituent and colleague Brian Yinger with Columbus Fusion Company. Today I'm proud to introduce legislation that looks forward, not just to the next election cycle, but to the next generation. This bill establishes a clear, responsible regulatory framework for fusion energy in Ohio. Fusion energy is no longer science fiction. It is real. It is advancing rapidly, and it states that prepare now will lead, while those that hesitate will be left trying to catch up. A similar framework has already passed in Washington State, where they are moving ahead with building the first fusion energy plant in the country. They understood something important. Innovation doesn't wait for permission, but it does choose to where it lands. Ironically, earlier today, the federal government also came out with guidelines. So this bill does not subsidize fusion, it does not mandate fusion, and it does not lower safety standards. What it does is provide clarity. So innovators know the rules, regulators know their rule, and Ohio is ready when this technology is ready. This matters because Ohio is already facing real energy challenges. We have approved tons of new data centers across this state. Those investments bring jobs, economic growth, and opportunity, but they also place an enormous strain on our electric grid. Anyone being honest about our future knows this. Our current energy system was not built for the demand that is coming. If we do nothing, that strain will grow. If we delay, costs will rise. And if we rely solely on yesterday's solutions, Ohio will fall behind tomorrow's needs. Fusion energy offers something fundamentally different. It is clean, it is reliable, and it is base load power. Without the carbon emissions or long-term waste challenges we associate with traditional sources. And it has the potential to provide enormous amounts of energy on a very small footprint. This bill will position Ohio to be the pioneer of the Midwest, not just reacting to change, but leading it. We have the workforce, we have the research institutions, we have the manufacturing base, and we have the responsibility to plan ahead instead of kicking the can down the road. This legislation is about foresight. It's about competitiveness, and it's about making sure Ohio's grid can support the economy we are actively building. Washington State took the first step. Ohio should take the next and do it the Ohio way. Practical, responsible, and forward-thinking. I'm excited to introduce this bill, and I look forward with working with my colleagues, stakeholders, and energy experts to ensure Ohio remains strong, reliable, and ready for the future. Thank you very much, and we'd be happy to take any questions that you might have.
In terms of what kind of generation this could bring for the state, is there estimates? Like, we've heard a lot of talk about how we're facing energy shortfalls. Like, what could this mean in terms of maybe addressing that?
It could supply what we need outright, but it's not going to replace what we have already in the pipeline. I'm sure you've heard about the 9.2 gigawatt plant going in, natural gas plant going in Portsmouth. That's going to do a lot to alleviate it. This is in addition to those types of energy generation moving forward.
How quickly, what what amount of kilowatts or energy megawatts, and what time frame would you actually be able to deliver something to the grid or behind the meter to, you know, a manufacturer of data centers?
There's a company in Washington called Helion Energy that is set to deliver 50 megawatts of baseload power to the grid in 2028. Alongside of them building the first power plant, they're also building manufacturing as well. So they'll be able to scale these machines out faster. So actual timeline, 2028 would be the very earliest it would happen. However, it took 2 years to make a Kroger. So the legislation today is for the forward thinking for Ohio. Yeah.
When you say 2028, I'm assuming that's something like a power cycle board docket that says this is what the company wants to do, perhaps, but if you could clarify for me, really the question is more of a technical question, you know, not sort of a procedural question. That is, regardless of where you go, is this technology deliverable in 2 years? Does it appear to be deliverable in 2 years?
I think with the correct site selection, yes. That being said, the one plant that's being built, the roof just got completed today. It is under construction. They are ready to go. Regulation is ready. The company is ready, and that is Helion Energy out of Washington. CFS is another one out of Massachusetts. They're delivering, I think, 2 gigawatts to Virginia's, their data center corridor that they have down there as well. They're looking early 2030s. Those would not be as scalable, but there's multiple companies, I think over 60 startups in the United States alone, which are all trying to tackle this right now. This act, as presented by Brian Lorenz here, is just to open Ohio up for discussion.
You know, we, Hannah and I in particular, follow the energy committees very closely, and as you probably know, Representative Lorenz, Chairman Holmes is very voluble. I mean, he just puts it out there, hey guys, this is what we're doing, read this article, this is where things are going. So not to sort of pit you against him, but I mean, I just try to put things in context. I haven't heard, did I miss him talking about this? Or kind of what has been the discussion?
Sure. No, it's great.
I'm just trying to sort of contextualize.
Great question. So Brian and I have been formulating this for the better part of a year right now. And as you know, I am a member of the Energy Committee. And we wanted to make sure that we had the setup for the regulatory framework and next steps crystal clear. And so we have finally gotten this piece of legislation to that point where it's ready to be unveiled to the public. To answer your question directly, yes, I have spoken to Chairman Holmes. He's very excited about it, and you may have not heard much about it because I don't want to put out a product that isn't going to be impactful, that isn't going to move, and isn't going to resonate with the constituents of the state of Ohio. And so we've deliberately held this sort of in our back pocket. But I can assure you that I did have conversations with the chairman. He's extremely excited about this, and he has, even though I'm introducing it, he has asked me to champion this, and this is the first step in the process of getting it in front of the committee. It'll go to rules and reference, obviously, but I would expect this to be on our docket in the near future during this mini session.
There has been talk about advanced nuclear for years now, and then there's some rumor now that there could be a nuclear plant down in southern Ohio, maybe behind the river. I understood that to be, we're going to recycle old, waste, and we're going to get the energy out of that, and so that sounds like fission to me. So this is different.
Yes.
And not to ask you to prognosticate, but I mean, if this can really be scaled, what need would there be for fission?
I would say that we know a lot more about fission than we do about fusion. we're not saying that fusion is ready for full commercialization and take over the power generation needs that fission holds right now, or natural gas or coal or any of those things. But for example, the power plant that's being built in Washington right now is on a 20-acre parcel for 50 megawatts. And if you were to scale that out to solar and wind or something of that nature, it'd be almost 2,000 acres. So this is a way for Ohio to build an energy future while maintaining our ability to be a manufacturing, or an agricultural hub.
Yeah, the footprint's much smaller, and this is, for this base load power type.
But your point earlier about the power generation coming from old nuclear waste, that's a company, yes. And I'm not sure about the regulatory where they're gonna be, but that was the fission side, not fusion.
We have a bill, and we will be submitting it to the clerk's office tomorrow. And if you talk to my office, we'll be happy to get you a copy of it.
Is this legislation coming from any state in particular or inspired by any other state in particular?
Yes. This legislation is modeled slightly off of what Washington State has done.
I spoke with many members from across the plasma physics and nuclear fusion energy industry themselves to get the go-ahead on writing this legislation to make sure that the language was clear, that the understanding was there, that this is a new form of energy generation. So, yeah, it was from across the industry. It was well received.
And maybe for everyone in the room, would you mind giving a little brief history on, or synopsis of your background? Just so everybody knows how we kind of came together.
Yeah, very fortunate.
Skill set.
Very fortunately, I was able to be the only American at the time, I'm not sure about since, to go to one of the fuels of fusion itself is called tritium. I went to the UK AEA, which is the United Kingdom Atomic Energy Authority. And I was the only American that I know of that took the tritium training course, and that's for the fuel itself. And if you've never heard of tritium, then that's a good thing. We said it before, but I'll say it again. Ohio is a nuclear regulatory agreement state. So we are in agreement in accordance with federal governance on that part of things. I've taken classes through the Princeton Plasma Physics Laboratory, and I went to the Fusion Industry Association conference last year, where there was a 100-member bipartisan caucus for fusion energy specifically in our national Congress. And one of the takeaways from that was go talk to your local legislator about fusion because it's coming, it's on its way. Commercialization is the next step. And that's exactly what I did. I'm very fortunate to have a neighbor, a friend, and a representative that was welcoming for me to come and tell them that. But that's a brief history.
What are you operating like right now when you don't necessarily have like a state regulatory framework?
Well, that's to build in the state, you need the framework. And so that's kind of what we're going with. We, like I said, as a Nuclear Regulatory Commission agreement state, we are under federal mandate, and there are people within the Energy Committee, I believe, that have direct access to them. So we're always under federal, but allow things to grow here in Ohio. We needed specific legislation for site selection, zoning of that nature, so.
Speaking, fission is kind of high maintenance. Those plants are big. There's a lot of, obviously, safety, getting rid of the waste, and, I don't know anything specifically about it, but I just know that it's a lot of investment. So maybe like dollar per dollar, I don't know if you put it that way, but for the same gigawatt.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cost to build and operate.
Sure. If you speak at the gigawatt level, the 9.2 gigawatt gas-fired plant down in Portsmouth, that was a $33 billion investment. I came to Jobs Ohio last year with a startup out of the UK for a 10 gigawatt fusion plant for around $10 billion, which would have been the largest deal in Ohio history. But again, the regulation wasn't in place. People are unaware that this technology is ready for commercialization. And that's kind of what we wanted to do here today, was just say, hey, let's see you compete. In Ohio, you know, we love competition, so.
Right, and, you know, so many other benefits. We already talked about the architectural footprint difference, the environmental impact is much less. Fusion is portable, it's renewable, and it aligns very well in going back to the grid, as well as being that base load power that is complementary to our fossil fuels, natural gas, and things of that nature. So many advantages. And again, the point of this legislation is we need to get this rolling. If we are going to continue to be an economic development giant, not only in the United States, but on the global economy, we've got to have reliability in our energy and sustain our own grid here in Ohio for Ohioans. And this is the first step to making those, meeting those benchmarks. Thanks everybody for coming in, appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Well done.